welcome to CJC Adventures. Carl here, and today Craig's with me, and we're going to take a look at some history of one of the largest parts of the Industrial Revolution, Round Oak Steelworks. Now, Round Oak Steelworks was a massive factory within the Brierly Hill region of the Black Country, and we're going to take a look at some of the history and what it looked like then to what it looked like today. So let's go and have a little bit of a look at that history. Here we go. The Round Oak Steelworks was a steel production plant in Brierly Hill, West Midlands, formerly Staffordshire, England. It was founded in 1857 by Lord Ward, who later became, in 1860, the first Earl of Dudley, as an outlet for pig iron made in the nearby blast furnaces. During the Industrial Revolution, the majority of iron making in the world was carried out within 32 kilometres of Round Oak. For the first decades of operation, the works produced wrought iron. However, in the 1890s, steel making was introduced. At its peak, thousands of people were employed at the works. The steel works was the first in the United Kingdom to be converted to national gas, which was supplied from the North Sea. The works were nationalised in 1951, privatised in 1953, and nationalised again in 1967, although the private firm Tube Investments continued to part manage the operations at the site. The steelworks closed in December 1982. The farmland which stood in the shadow of Round Oak Steelworks was designated by the government as an enterprise zone in 1980, being extended to include the site of the works in 1984, the same year that the Round Oak buildings were demolished. In October 1984, Dudley Metropolitan Council approved the plans of local twin brothers Don and Roy Richardson to build a retail park and shopping mall on the farmland. The first retail units were occupied in the autumn of 1985, and by April 1986 the first phase of the Maryhill Shopping Centre had been completed. The site was gradually expanded until the final phase opened in November 1989. Maryhill brought thousands of jobs to the local area and spearheaded a region-wide transition from manufacturing to services as the key employer of local workers, although many of the new shopping centre jobs were occupied by people who had worked in other locations, mostly in the town centre of Dudley, until the retailers decided to relocate to new units at Maryhill. The first businesses did not move into the steelworks site until December 1990, when the new offices were completed as part of the Waterfront development. Despite the closure of the works in 1982, a steel terminal was opened on the adjacent railway in August 1986 and is still in use today. Now, a lot of this area has changed beyond recognition, really. It was all industrial canal land. This, it's still obviously a canal, leads on to the Dudley canals and further on, and it is pretty much quite a nice area now, actually. I mean, compared to what it used to look like when Round Oak Steelworks was here. It was, obviously industrial land, as you would expect when you have factories or foundries, industry nearby. It's always going to look quite rough and well used. And just over the back here you can see the Copthorne Hotel, and obviously there's people fishing here today like they are most days. It actually started just over here, the Round Oak Steelworks, and it was, within this area. It doesn't look the same as what it actually looked like back then. It looks really different. Nothing looks the same at all. But it took up all of this land you can see just here and all of this land was taken up. It was a massive place, you know, with furnaces, within, you know, the industry that it generated was unbelievable. You know, it was a massive part of, you know, what the Black Country stood for, and steel making and wrought iron making and other steel products, of course. But yeah, it's all took up by bars today, and here today, you know, you can see other bars like Weatherspoons as well. I mean, a lot of the industry is well thought about as well, because you can see like a bar here, and it's called Red by Night, and of course Red by Night was part of what the Black Country was for, wasn't it? You know, at night time you see the skies lit up red with fire from the furnaces with all the industry. Oh, that's like a nightclub out there.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Red by Night. I think it's in actually.
It's a good name, mate. I know, yeah.
Oh, it is on.
You know all the bars around here, don't you? You know,
Yeah.
you know all the
Yeah.
nightlife. I mean, if you take a look at all the buildings today, I mean, you know, they're quite futuristic around this area. They're really, you know, for the time of when they were built. So if you take a look and compare them the way they once was and the way things actually look round here, it was actually, you know, very old looking, very industry like. So, you know, round these parts it's always been very futuristic. You look at that industry, what must have come through here, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like when the Roundel factory was here,
Yeah.
they'd come all along this canal, wouldn't it? You know.
Yeah, you can believe it now. Look at it, would you?
Yeah, it's like, you know, from industrialised to like futuristic looking, eh?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You know, you
Flats
you
and
imagine
hotel
like,
and that.
you imagine like what it did look like to what it looks like today. You know.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I imagine a lot of these bridges must be the same bridges as when, you know, the factory was here.
Yeah.
They've been done up or replaced over the years, but a lot of this is probably, you know, still the same bridges and whatever, right? You know, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you got a bit of mooring here, don't you, with the boats and whatever.
Yeah.
I suppose
Yeah.
going back them years when industry took over these canals, it was mainly like, you know, the canals was obviously just used, like obviously for industry and not for pleasure, were they really? So,
Yeah, oh, yeah, no.
because today they're more used for pleasure boating, are they?
Yeah.
It's called Waterfront moorings, ain't this? So,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
well, you can just imagine like the factory being there, Koya,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and travelling all the way along there, and
Yeah.
you know, all the smoke and noise and all that coming all the way along, you know. This was all like regenerated in like the 1980s, war it? It was all put together and, you know, updated and, you know, so obviously when industry goes, it's like, you know, well, these used to be bars, these had, but I think them just office space now, don't they?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So you get a lot of this space here. This was obviously industrial land, and it led on to Monorail Farm, as they called it. But, and obviously them power towers there, them power cables, they've always been there, them have. So obviously that was here when all the industry was here. where it all was. All along the canals, the travel, weren't they, with all the steel and... You'd probably get like a lot of industry around here, wouldn't you, this part, like, it just probably ain't never been used, has it, for nothing? Yeah. Materialised for anything, like?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, and it all... That was obviously part of some sort of industry, wasn't it? What was here? I know this at one point, as I say, it was called Monorail Farm, this was, and that's where the name come from. And all this would be farmland, and you know, looks, as I say, unrecognisable now compared to like how it's been, had money spent on it and everything else, eh? So, but you know, this is what it used to look like. But there used to be a monorail here, hadn't there? We can still actually see it, look, you know, when it says M&S there, Marks and Spencer, that was actually the monorail station, and apparently it's still there, and I think it is, look, because you can actually still see the building, what goes back. So, where the monorail stood, it was like, just there. So it was like 1991 to 1996 when it run. But it only run for like a few years, obviously, but we're breaking down all the while, weren't you? Just say the investment that's put into what used to be a farm or farmland, right by the Round Oaks steel. Well, it's marvellous though, you can turn a farm into a shopping centre like that. Well, that bridge there, that has to be like an original bridge, don't you? Part of a lot of the industry. Telco, yeah. Oh, it's a proper industrial bridge there, is it? Telco, yeah. I think it just goes over to there, don't you? It's like old industrial land. So obviously anything what used to go over the canals and whatever, they used to... It was probably put there for purpose, really, or it's to take things over, like if it was an industrial, you know, land all around here. I mean, that land's never really been used by the look on it since whenever it was used for, has it? And that goes all up to the steelworks itself, all up there, look. So obviously this bridge was part of that, unless it was part of the farm what goes on to Monorail. Seems that way. It's an industrial bridge rather than a pedestrian bridge. Of course, there's still like factories around these parts either, so they are utilising it for nothing, aren't they? So. And that's it for today on CJC Adventures. We've taken a look at the Round Oaks Steelworks, and it's nice to look at some history, isn't it, and how things have changed, and especially around the Brierly Hill and Dudley area as well, and of course Merry Hill as well, Merry Hill Farm as it was once known, mainly known for just shopping these days, of course. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Click on the subscribe icon and then the bell. You'll be notified when each video is uploaded, and please share. And until next time, look after yourselves and each other. Goodbye for now.